Good afternoon, and you're watching the newsroom on ET Now with me, Vinny Motiwala. Now, let's start the show and keep it a bit with the earnings today. We are going to start and talk to the management of Marico. We'll bring on board Saugata Gupta, who's the MD and CEO at Marico, to talk about the numbers and margin pressure. What is he expecting? So, let's welcome Mr. Saugata Gupta from Marico. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for joining with us on ET Now. It's a pleasure having you on the show. Mr. Gupta, let's start with talking about the current demand trends. What are the consumer sentiment looking like, and how is this time's domestic demand different versus last year? If you could give us a gist on that.
So I think it's, as I said, it's difficult to give you a complete estimate. Obviously, there are a lot of factors. For example, as the opening up happened last year and this year, sometime in last year it was in Q2. This year it happened sometime in June, July. There was a pipeline filling that happened. Okay, I think there are 2-3 factors we need to keep in mind. There has been a slight moderation of growth in rural. There has been the exponential growth that we witnessed in e-commerce. We are seeing now modern trade recovering, and some of the demand getting transferred to modern trade, organized modern trade, now that things have opened up. We are a little concerned about inflation because 2 factors. One is inflation leads to price increases. It's also somewhere it impacts the total share of wallet for an FMCG. And so therefore, I think we are waiting and watching, but there has been a slight moderation in demand, which we have seen in towards the second half of the quarter.
Right, but I just want to touch a bit upon inflation, what you spoke about, which is a concern. So now, obviously, with the rising pressure coming in from other than the copra raw materials, copra saw a decline. So what is your concerns going forward? How could we see the margins panning out in the next couple of quarters?
So our situation is slightly different in the sense that a significant portion of input cost, which was copra led, we already experienced significant inflation last year, and now that is moderated. So in our case, we had a significant pressure even in the previous quarters, and now from Q2 onwards, we are seeing sequentially our gross margins improving. We will continue to see our gross margins improving in Q3 and Q4. Having said that, I think the moderation, which we are expecting, hopefully from both vegetable oils and crude based, that will take. I think that will more likely to happen in Q4. It's unlikely to happen in Q3. And once we have that, and I think our EBITDA margins will also start improving in Q4, and we should be able to get back to our medium-term aspirations in the following 1 or 2 quarters. So therefore, I think there's a slight difference. Having said that, I think in continued inflation and price increases, I think we have to choose somewhere volume over margin, short-term margins. And therefore, continued inflation could have some impact on the consumption situation. But I am hoping, given whatever trends, that some moderation starts happening in the Jan-March quarter.
Right. So, I just want to understand a bit more. You said you'll be choosing volumes over margins. So, does that mean, what is the price hike you'll be looking to take? Will there be any more price hikes given that the inflation is still continuing?
So, as I said, that if you look at our in India business, for example, we are at 24% value growth and 8% volume growth. So 16% was inflation. It's unlikely that, we have to wait and watch. I think the biggest uncertainty is crude, because crude impacts RM, crude impacts packaging costs. So if so, the only reason there could be further price hikes could be because of crude, and we have to wait and watch. Having said that, in the immediate term, I think we have taken some price increases. We are just might not be taking price increases at least this quarter. Having said that, we have to wait and watch. And as I said, that I am hoping that some moderation happens sometime in Q4. And as you know, that we have already taken around 50% price increase in Saffola because of the significant increase in vegetable oil prices.
Right, so hoping for some moderation in the raw material prices. But moving forward, Mr. Gupta, I just want to highlight something upon is the moderation that you're seeing in rural growth. What is the outlook over there? How severe is the moderation and urban growth versus rural growth? If you could give us an understanding on that.
I think there has been a moderation of growth. While in Q2, rural growth was slightly higher than urban, but definitely there is a moderation of growth. Uh, as I said, it's too early to call it a slowdown, but there could be certain factors. For example, the fact that inflation could be one reason. Second is, with the opening up, which happened, obviously, there is a pent up demand in other categories which are non FMCG. The third could be that, and I'm talking of the category, I'm talking of the entire sector, that in as the COVID started reducing, maybe in June and July, there was some opening up that happened. There would have been a little pipeline or this one feeling, that pipeline filling that happened. So it's a combination of reasons. We have to wait and watch. But yes, I think there has been a moderation of growths and there has been a slight slowdown, which is being also borne by Nielsen. Having said that, again, I believe that Nielsen also will take some time to stabilize, in terms of the pickup factors and everything. So yes, I think there is a moderation, there is a little bit of slowdown, and we need to wait and watch.
And lastly, before we let you go, Mr. Gupta, could you just highlight upon the 450 crores to 500 crores turnover and the aspirations you have on the digital first brand by 2024? Any new acquisitions in the pipeline? What is the strategy here?
So I think our focus is, I think we are looking at personal care and food, but obviously the unit economics has to play out in food because now coming to acquisitions, I think our growth has to be a combination of organic and inorganic. We believe Beardo will touch the 100 crore exit run rate by this year. I think Just Herbs, if we continue to grow at this rate, will be as another potential 100 crore brand. We need to grow some more from our organic stable. Having said that, I think Marico is a very, very supportive partner and a very, very, I believe, a strong strategic partner in the growth of these brands in terms of supporting on capability, supporting on other things. And yes, we will continue to look at inorganic opportunities in this sector.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for joining with us on ET Now. It's a pleasure having you on the show.